What if I told you that in 1908, a giant explosion flattened over 2,000 square kilometers of forest in remote Siberia? Now, this is obviously a huge area. To put into perspective just how big it is, it's bigger than the entire city of London. And what's even more strange is that no one really knows what caused it. Theories range from a meteor airburst to a UFO crash, but there is evidence for all outcomes. So today, we're going to take a look at the strange case of the Tunguska event, which happened exactly 114 years ago. We'll explore the mystery blast and attempt to determine the cause. Let's get started. June 30th, 1908. The skies above Siberia, Russia, were filled with thunder and lightning as an enormous fireball streaked across the horizon. Moments later, the air grew hot and heavy as if an oven had been turned on. That's how the Tunguska event began. For some time, the explosion rocked the region, knocking people off their feet and blowing the doors clean off their hinges. Then came the sound, a deafening roar like a cannon being fired. It was so loud that it could be heard as far away as Washington, D.C. in the United States and even London, England. The event itself occurred near the Tunguska River, hence the name Tunguska event, located in an incredibly remote part of Siberia. There weren't many witnesses to the event, but the ones who saw it described a bright light coming from above before the ground shook violently beneath their feet. Even though the explosion itself only lasted a few minutes, its effects were felt for days. People reported seeing a bright light in the sky for weeks after the event, along with a strange blue haze during the day. But not everyone saw this as a good thing. In fact, many saw it as a bad omen. This was because they believed the end of the world was happening. As the days went on, more and more people began to feel ill, suffering from nosebleeds, bleeding gums, dizziness, and nausea. Some even began to go blind, though it's important to note that these symptoms may have been caused by something else. At the time, doctors really didn't know much about radiation, and they hadn't yet discovered what radon gas was. Many miners who worked in the area had been digging up uranium or without any protective clothing, leading to the buildup of radioactive elements in their body. This could have caused them to fall ill, but the timing couldn't have been worse. Everyone thought the world was ending, and here were doctors saying it probably wasn't. So, now let's talk about the damage caused by the explosion. As mentioned earlier, over 2,000 square kilometers of forest were completely leveled. 2 trees were blown over in all directions, and large boulders were picked up and moved over 35 kilometers away. A shockwave was sent out from the explosion that traveled around the globe 3 times. The energy released was estimated to be between 10 and 12 megatons of TNT, which is equivalent to between 4 and 5 Hiroshima atomic bombs. This is enough energy to destroy an entire city block, level a small mountain, or sink an aircraft carrier. To give you some context, the largest bomb ever detonated on Earth, the Tsar Bomba, only had a yield of 50 megatons. So this event was powerful, but it still only had a fraction of the destructive power of the biggest bomb ever. But perhaps the strangest part of the Tunguska event is that no crater was found. It would make sense that after an explosion of this size, there would be some kind of physical evidence left behind, right? Well, no crater was ever found. It's almost as if whatever caused the Tunguska event simply vanished without a trace. This has led many people to believe that aliens must have crashed a UFO into the Siberian wilderness. There's certainly no shortage of UFO crash stories from this region. According to local folklore, the Tunguska River was once full of UFO. They called it the River of Flying Things. The legend goes that one day the river was struck by lightning and the UFOs all exploded. Could there be some truth to this story? Perhaps. There are a lot of unknowns surrounding the Tunguska event, but scientists have come up with a few potential explanations as to what may have caused it. One theory is that it was caused by a meteorite. Now, this would explain why so much damage was done, but it wouldn't explain why no crater was formed. If a meteor had actually hit the ground, then surely there would be some kind of impact crater, right? Well, yes, but not necessarily. You see, if the meteor had exploded in midair, then there wouldn't be a crater because the explosion would have been outside of the Earth's atmosphere. This is called an airburst, and it's a lot more dangerous than a normal explosion, because the force of the explosion is spread out over a much larger area. The Tunguska event was most likely an airburst because the force of the explosion was so widespread. The meteor probably exploded about 5 to 6 miles above the ground, which would explain why no crater was found. But there is evidence to support other theories as well. Some believe that a comet could have fragmented and caused the explosion. Comets are made up of ice, dust, and rock, and they often have a tail. It's possible that a fragment of a comet broke off and exploded over Siberia. However, there's no evidence that a comet passed close to Earth in 1908, which makes this theory unlikely. Others believe that a UFO may have crashed over Siberia. Now, this is the least likely scenario, but it's still possible. After all, we don't know for sure what caused the Tunguska event. And if a UFO did explode, it would make sense that it would release a large amount of energy. Plus, there are a lot of UFO stories from Siberia. Maybe there really is something to them. After the event, a team of Russian scientists was sent to investigate. They were unable to find any evidence of a meteor or a comet, but they did find a large number of small pebbles. These pebbles were smooth and rounded, which ruled out the possibility that they had been caused by a meteorite. One scientist even claimed to have seen footprints in the sand that looked like they had been left by a giant. Whatever he was talking about, it's clear that the Tunguska event was a mysterious and unexplainable event that happened in 1908. To this day, the cause of the explosion is unknown, and there is evidence to support all of the major theories. It's possible that a meteor exploded in midair, or that a comet fragmented over Siberia. It's also possible that a UFO crashed into the region. But until we find physical evidence to support any of these theories, the Tunguska event will remain a mystery. What do you think caused the Tunguska event? Was it a comet, a meteor, a UFO, or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're down there, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Bye.